Nice hat.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of Break Even Sports, show where we talk about the sports that we don't really talk about on DHC. If you notice, we started a little bit later than usual. We all three of us were actually doing Mr. Profit's podcast, the holiday edition, since we've all been former guests, and so we just kind of dropped off of that and decided to join on here because he doesn't like us when we talk about these sports on his show. He hates us. He throws stuff at us. He calls us mean names. So. As usual, I'm your host for this evening, Virgil, the producer. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When it comes to soccer and FCS this week, did not have a good week. This has probably been one of the worst weeks I've had in a while. But before we get into that, let me, of course, introduce my two partners in crime tonight, Patrick, Prospector, and Donnie the Mayor. How are you guys doing tonight? Although I'm asking that like I haven't just spoken to you in like the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, you've been hanging out with us for an hour and 20 minutes on the other recording, which everybody that's listening so far, and hopefully we'll repeat this again later. When this drops for Earn Fun Average, go check it out. It's a lot of good people that are involved in that and talking about the trips that they did this year, and a lot of minor league baseball stuff. So if it's a little different than what we talk about here, but anyway, I just want to promote Earn Fun Average Holiday Spectacular.
I just to do a little teaser, I love the fact that it wasn't even me that had to bring up the story of you abandoning me in Chicago. I don't even have to do it anymore. People just do that for me.
I know Eric dropped that one. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And
but I'd also like to
I own it.
But I'd also like to point out that I brought up the good side of what Donnie does.
Yes.
Whenever you go on a trip with them. I mean, as much as we like to pick on him about that, he deserves his flowers too. Because
absolutely,
I appreciate that.
There were many early mornings that I know I've personally been on with him where I didn't have to do anything, and Donnie did literally all of the work. So, so big shout out to Donnie.
Well, I appreciate that. And what's up, Polly? Good to see you, Joe.
What's up,
good
Polly?
To see you too.
What's up, Joe?
I know, Joe, you'll enjoy that episode with a lot of the people that were on there. Some of which you met. We talked a little bit about the Chicago Curb Rim meetup as well, which you were at. So definitely check it out when that drops.
Yeah, it should be fun there. So let's go ahead and jump into soccer. You know what? And let's go ahead. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I did not have a good week this week with Kaiserslautern. I know we have Premier League stuff to talk about. We will get to that.
I didn't have a good Premier League week, so
you talk about Bundesliga too. Go ahead.
Let me just get this off my chest. I'm sorry. Kaiserslautern loses 2-0 to Eintracht Braunschweig. Why is that a problem to me? Because Eintracht Braunschweig is in the bottom of the table at 18th. Now, luckily, this was an away game, of course, but waking up in the morning and seeing that you're already down 2-0, it's not a good feeling, especially from a team that you feel like you should beat, and now you're further away in the table. So, not a good start to my day. Not a good start at all. And then we kind of get to when we actually get to the Premier League games themselves, there are some pretty good ones to talk about this week. I want to focus mostly on the first game here of Man City and Leeds. Now, Leeds was a team that I know one of us expected to be relegated at first because I thought they were not really going to be competitive. And while they did lose 3-2, they did pretty good. I thought they had a chance to win that game, but of course, the scores in stoppage time. Anybody have a chance to see any highlights or even watch some of this game?
I did not.
I'll be honest, I did not either. I mean, I did see like some highlights, but I did not watch the game. But it was so I'll let you share your details.
So the thing that kind of surprised me about this game, Man City went up 2-0 at about maybe the 25th, 26th minute. And usually at that time, when they're leading at home, you kind of already suspect this is going to be a struggle for the away team to come back. You kind of expect that's just going to probably stay 2-0, maybe going to be the floodgates kind of open. Leeds fought back to tie it 2-2. And honestly, they probably should have won that game. But sadly, they were not able to. Of course, Phil Foden gets 2 goals for a brace. But the game that I mostly spent, now that was on the multi-screen that I was watching. But the game I was really focusing on was Sunderland at Bournemouth, or Sunderland against Bournemouth. That was at Sunderland. Bournemouth goes up 2-0, which, by the way, if you have a chance to watch the Tyler Adams goal, I know the one that I sent you on the chat, definitely one of the best goals from American over in Premier League for sure.
Oh yeah, I saw that. When you sent that over, I had to take a look at that. That was fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, Bournemouth had a 2-0 lead going into it. Sunderland does get a penalty in the first half, so they do lead 2-1. And Sunderland, man, that team's. I was wrong about them. I'm not gonna lie. I thought they were going to be a team that was going to be strictly a mid-table team. I didn't say they were going to be relegated. I thought they were going to be. They'll win a lot of games. They'll win some games. They're probably going to not win against a top 5 team, something like that. I've been proven wrong. They are sitting 4th in the table, I believe. Sorry, no,
they're 6th.
They're 6th. They're saying 6th in the table, but they're 2 out from a spot in Champions League. So, this is starting to become one of my favorite watches by far.
Yeah, them, Man U, and Liverpool leaped Crystal Palace because of our loss this week.
We'll talk about Crystal Palace for a minute. Brentford beats Burnley 3-1. Newcastle, when Newcastle travels to anywhere that's not London, they're okay because they win 4-1. You travel to London, that's usually when when the away record shows up as bad. But the game I want to talk about now, you'll notice someone's not here.
Yep,
someone is not here. And you're probably asking why Ed is not here. And that is because, well, first off, he's in Orlando, but the main reason he's not here is because his team, Tottenham, lost. Now, I have to call him out for a little bit. I know he's probably not going to see this, but if you guys remember last Monday, I was given crap for not having a Premier League team. Now, Donnie, Patrick, I'm sure you remember that.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So which team did I end up picking in the end?
I don't know. Did you actually pick one?
I did. I picked Fulham because
Fulham.
I picked Fulham because that's where I usually watch a lot of the American players when they were there. So like Clint Dempsey, Carlos Bocanegra. So I wanted to know the only reason that Tottenham lost to Fulham is because when it comes to most of my soccer teams, I pick winners. See, Fulham knew that I follow them now. And so they had to embarrass Tottenham the way that they did. I really wanted his opinion on this game because I did kind of catch this one. And it's one of those. Tottenham had a lot of wasted shots. They had 14 shots, but only 2 on target, versus Fulham with 7 shots and 3 on target. So a lot more efficient in that aspect. So that was it for the Saturday games on there. Donnie, before we go over to the Sunday games Premier League, can we talk about your Bayern Munich real quick?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad I didn't text you guys when they were, level, I guess, because I had heard about it, and I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I watched most of that game, so I did get to see that.
So I was going to be honest with you. When I saw it was the 90th minute and it was tied 1-1 against St. Pauli, I'm like, I am shocked. I have not heard anything.
I learned my lesson before, so I was like, I'm just going to wait it out.
Yeah, but I was waiting to see what happens, and oh my gosh, look at this. Luis Diaz and Jackson and stoppage time in the 3rd and 6th minute over stoppage time. Oh, look, they miraculously pull it out again. Those scrappy young German teams. The ones that no one really has a lot. Patrick, you're muted.
Said they're a real underdog.
Bayern Munich, the true real underdog story.
Well, I was waiting for oh my gosh, I'm just like out of it right this second. Oh gosh. Waiting for the customary goal from Harry Kane. I'm totally drawing a blank. I was like, okay, he's got to get this, like, the winning goal here when we were 1-1. And he didn't score. He didn't get his customary goal, but we did win the match. So,
see, how spoiled do you have to be that you have players that you are expecting customary goals from?
I only bring that up because last weekend was the first time I heard that term used by the announcers, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize that he gets a customary goal, which I knew he did kind of get. He was always like scrappy as far as just pulling out one of those goals around the net at a random spot in the game that just didn't seem like anything was going to happen, and then boom, there it is. So I'm learning.
Isn't it nice to have a player, Patrick, that would have customary goals?
I mean, I wouldn't know. So, but I will ask Donnie, does this mean that you guys are finally going to buy Nico Jackson? Please.
Are we? I don't know. Is he worth it?
Well, I mean, if he keeps putting in goals for you guys, I mean, he's certainly not your primary goal scorer. I mean,
no, but he is doing pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens with that, or if Bayern's going to do what they normally do and just give him just enough appearances to not activate an obligation to buy, and send him back after the season ends.
Yeah, I don't even know what to compare it to like what is it like? I can't think of a good comparison where you use somebody until you're done with them, and then they're like, okay, I don't need you anymore. Thanks for everything you did.
Well, I was going to equate it to you buy something from the store and you use it all for 29 days up to the 30-day return policy.
That's it.
And then you take it and you return it for your full refund.
Yeah.
It's like that. Thanks. I used it for all those days. And then I think the best thing would probably be like running shoes. Like a lot of those running shoe places have like, if they have any damage after like 5 months of usage, then they'll replace it for free. It's like, that's what they're doing for Nico Jackson.
Or the ladies that go and get a dress for an event and leave the tags on and tuck them all in, and as soon as the event's over, they take it back.
Well, my goodness! What is this?
Is he talking about Luis Felipe Scalori? Sorry, I mean Carlo Ancelotti's Christmas tree formation. Is that what he's talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Ed, when you decide to actually join us, I would love to know what your thoughts are on Carlo Ancelotti's Christmas tree formation. How effective you think it is when he employs that. So thank you.
So let's talk about Sunday.
No, let's not talk about Sunday.
Sunday was not a good day. We need to talk about Sunday because only one of us had a good Sunday here. Kind of, maybe. You could probably say he did. I know in one league he did. I don't know about the other one. But first, Donnie, Manchester United comes into Selhurst Park and beats Crystal Palace 2-1.
And so I didn't get to watch the games on Sunday. We had some things going on, and well, y'all are aware what we were dealing with. But so I didn't get to watch any of the games. I did watch the highlight videos, and man, we had at least 2 goals specifically in the highlights that hit off of the framework of the netting. Like we had shots that just did not go in that game, and it was just like, what the heck's going on here? We had the same thing against Strasbourg. We had shots there too. It's like these guys are making the shots, they're just missing by inches and not getting them in the net.
Look at you dropping Strasbourg. I'm proud of you that you remember the Conference League game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a bad. That was on. I didn't get to watch that either, but we're in that period, and again, we're not in it alone. I know I mentioned this a while back, but we're in this like Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday. We got a game Wednesday, and then another one this weekend, and another one Tuesday. It's like, oh my God, they're like, every 3 days we have a game, and it's wearing. But I mean, these guys are professionals; they got to get through it. But yeah, the Strasburg, we dropped that game on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, and then lost this one. Now we've got Burnley coming up, so this is a chance to bounce back. Hopefully, got that. Then we've got Fulham. So we'll see what happens there with your guys.
I mean, you're going to lose that game, so I don't know why you're bothering about it. But that's at Burnley, so that one may be interesting. Usually Burnley at Turf Moor, that's a different team than on the road, but we'll see.
Well, Crystal Palace is going to be on the road for the next 3 matches. So yeah, they've got Burnley on Wednesday, then at Fulham on Sunday, and then the following Thursday at Shelburne. So, it's a wild road trip coming up.
As for some of the other games, Aston Villa beats Wolves 1-0. Wolves still winless. I said, watching Wolves, man. Like, I don't know why I do it. It's like I want them to at least win one game.
Can you imagine the range of emotions Rob Edwards is going through after winning practically every week to start the season at Middlesbrough, and then he takes the Wolves job, and it's just nothing but losses?
That's still just one of the biggest. I still don't understand that move. It's like could you imagine if you were like at a place like, let's just say Ole Miss, and then you go to LSU? Like, I feel like it's that kind of move. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but that's for another day.
I was gonna say that's kind of hard to argue considering how the season's gone. Argue against that.
Real quick, a couple of quick highs to some people we haven't seen on the chat before. Charbuck, I guess that is Charbuck 16. Hello to you, and Declan's alt. Hello to you.
I was gonna say I was wondering if that was a Declan Rice reference, but either way,
could be.
Yeah. Hey to you guys. Thanks for joining us. Sorry for the late hello, but we are glad that you're joining us.
That's weird. I can't see I can see like the non-vertical ones, but I can't. Oh, I got to check that out later.
Yeah. And then there's, he was asking someone else asking something of what, but that's.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was for. And then, I mean, there's this E-Driver. Adonato or something.
Well,
I mean,
we've had this bot a couple times before.
Yeah. I don't know why we do it.
Just go ahead and block him.
What's up, Mike? Mike texted me while we were still recording the other item earlier, and he's like, "No show tonight." I said, "Oh, we're give us a few minutes. We'll be on there."
Hey, yeah,
so I'm glad he was looking for us. I appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah. Big shout out to Mike.
Yeah, we were talking about doing like rotating. Like I was going to start the show solo, and then these two would join as we go back to the other thing we were doing, and then it's like, nah, that's so impractical.
Yeah.
I wanted to stay. You guys know why I wanted to stay, but that's another story.
Of course.
So,
but you also have to show that you're an important man too. So
that's also true. So one of the games that this scoreline kind of surprised me when I saw this one come through. Nottingham losing to Brighton at home 2-0. Nottingham, especially after the win that they've had last week at Liverpool, which we're going to talk about Liverpool for a minute. While they did win their Premier League game, we need to circle back to Champions League because I have a feeling there's probably some alarm bells going off. But Nottingham comes off of that, and then also a win against Malmo in the Europa League. And they just looked flat against Burnley. No, against Brighton. Brighton. They had most shots, but still, they were just a lot of wasted chances. Brighton, in my opinion, just was the better team in that game. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know what to make of Brighton, though, because I feel like they're a lot better than their table place indicates. But I don't know exactly where I would rate them.
I think that they're I think they're a very inconsistent side, even though what are they now? Are they sixth in the table?
They're fifth in the table.
Are they fifth in the table? Well, that's right. They're tied on points with Sunderland.
Right, they are.
And Brighton's had a really up and down season. I mean, a lot like you were talking about, that was a surprising result for Nottingham Forest. I mean, Brighton have had a couple of surprising results themselves this season. They've got really good players. They've got a young, energetic, talented manager in Fabian Herzler. But I think it's been kind of the diagnosis of the league all year that really, Arsenal aside, there's been a lot of teams that have just had up and down seasons. Surprising results. You can say that that's maybe down to some of the parity in the league. I don't know that there's necessarily parity. Maybe that's not the right way to say it, but there's certainly a gap between teams. But it does seem like there's teams that don't show up they may show up for games against the perceived top six, but then they don't show up for games against perceived middle of the table or relegation sides. And I mean, it's happened to Chelsea, it's happened to Man City, it certainly happened to Liverpool. We'll get into that. But I think I think the reason it's so close, going up and down the table, is because there's just been some surprising results throughout the first half of the season.
Yep.
So, hey,
Terry, good to see you again.
Terry McCutcheon. Look, yeah, away the lads indeed. Mike Bison's been leading his beloved Sunderland to a magical season so far. And yes, Terry, I am giving you credit for where Sunderland currently sit in the table because you are Mike Bison.
Absolutely. Terry, can you be honest with us for a minute? After we left, did Eric just basically just dog us for the rest of the show, just trash talked us? Because I feel like that's what happened. I feel like that kind of that was what he would do. It's funny we were talking about the league standings. So between Arsenal is in first place with 30 points, and then Manchester City at 25. Really, when you get down from 7th to 15, there's only a 5-point difference. So you have a lot of, and then you have a sizable gap between 15 and 16.
Yeah, and so you've got Nottingham Forest, West Ham, and Leeds and Burnley all kind of like, 2 of them are going to be relegated and 2 of them are not. And it's like, which 2 are going to be on the bottom of that 4? Because I think it's been changing. I mean, West Ham's moved up, Nottingham's moved up, Leeds and Burnley kind of bounced around a little bit too. So, it's kind of like you've got 3/3. You got a top third, a bigger middle part, and then these few, and then Wolves are they're just Wolves.
Man, that's the way to put it about it. Yeah, correct. So just Wolves.
And Phil, I'd love to see that Die Hard Christmas tree. That sounds pretty cool.
Terry, don't worry. That will be Ed's fault since he's not here. So we will blame that on Ed if that were to happen. So don't worry about it. Would never blame that on you.
Let's see. West Ham beat Liverpool. Liverpool beat West Ham 2-0. West Ham had a red card. And of course, Patrick's game, Chelsea at Arsenal, the Patrick Larson special. Chelsea had the red card.
Yeah, in the first half, this time no less.
Which amazed me that it was still able to be a draw with the first half.
And we actually took the lead.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You guys did.
Yeah, because Trevor Chalobah off of a set piece against Arsenal. Ironic. How ironic is that? Set piece FC being what Arsenal are.
Right.
Listen, it was a big week for Chelsea in terms of they had three important games. Like I feel like we're always saying for our teams, every game is important, which it is, but it was it started with Burnley last weekend, which was the game that scared me probably the most because I don't think the players with this team, I don't worry about them getting up for big games. I do, like the perceived big teams, but I do worry about them showing up for games against, as I said earlier, perceived mid-table or relegation candidate teams, and they showed up against Burnley and played really well and got an important 3 points. They hosted Barcelona in midweek for the Champions League and had an excellent performance, even though a red card changed that game as well. Although it was not Chelsea that got the red card in that game. And then obviously against the league leaders this past weekend, considering the fact that we played more than half the game with one man down and we made the game look even, I thought that that was a good result. I thought it was a resolute performance. It was nice to see us like defend resolutely and just show some grit, because that's not been a hallmark of the current Chelsea teams of probably the past 6-7 years, I would say. So I hate not beating a team at home, but considering the circumstances of the game and how everything played out, it's really nice to be able to say you were disappointed with only getting a point against the league leaders when they were down to 10 men. So I'll take it. Mike, I don't know how you feel since you're a Chelsea supporter as well, but I agree with you. They frustrated them to no end. I feel like they threw everything but the kitchen sink at us. They brought in Gyökeres. Marino got a big goal, which he's been doing all season for them, but they threw everything at us, and they didn't really have a whole bunch of clear-cut chances. You can say that they missed a couple, but we missed a couple chances as well. And Robert Sanchez actually made a couple of really good saves, so credit to him. Anyone who's listened to the show knows that I've been a critic of his, but I also want to give credit when it's due. So really pleased that Chelsea had a good week, and it doesn't get any easier because they have Leeds midweek, and then I'm trying to remember who we have at the week.
That kind of gets easier, Leeds.
Well,
it's kind of like Crystal Palace and Burnley. It should be. Not that it will. No, I don't want to be too presumptuous.
Those are the games that I worry about, though. I'm worried. Those are the games that I worry about, and then there's Bournemouth at the weekend.
Yeah.
That really concerns me, because that's a really good Bournemouth team, and they're, after what happened last weekend, I think that they're going to be hungry to kind of put everything right. So
really, after that, like, your Champions League game's not going to be easy too.
No. I mean, Atalanta is going to be a very tough fixture. I mean, that's why the Barcelona game was so huge to win it the way that we did, because we're trying to get in one of those automatic top 8 spots, and there is no guarantee at all that we'll do that. So we needed that win against Barcelona, considering we couldn't beat Karabag and some of the other teams, but it was a big result. And then Mike saying he doesn't know. Oh, let's see. Well, Donnie does have a private jet. We know that. He's probably the one that flew Lane Kiffin over to Baton Rouge. So,
no, I wouldn't have done that. I'd be like, no, I'm out, because I'm. We'll talk about that tomorrow. That's a whole other situation. It's like that's part of college football that's irritating me right now.
Yeah, you and me both. And my team's been in the middle of it. But Mike, I wonder how they're going to do it too, because one of the benefits of having, if you can call it a benefit, of Cole Palmer being injured has been the fact that Estevam has been able to play as the 10. So I'm really interested to see what they do when they get Palmer back. But I'd rather deal with a problem of having Palmer there than to not have him at all. So, hey, Mrs. Mayor.
Hey, Patrick telling you hello. Sorry. She just got home from working late. She wanted to come up and say hello.
We love Mrs. Mayor on this show.
They love you on the show.
Yes.
We love her all the time.
Absolutely. I thought maybe she was going to steal another drink from Donnie.
No, she came up here to get the snack mix, though, that I had sitting here on the desk that she wanted.
So let's, since we kind of already hinted on it before we go down to some of the other weekend games, let's hop back to a few days ago in Champions League, because there's a few storylines we can go with this, whether it is the German performances on Tuesday compared to Wednesday, because after the German performances on Tuesday, I felt like, oh man, they got to go up in coefficient. You have Dortmund beating Villarreal 4-0. You have Bayer Leverkusen going into Man City and beating Chelsea, beating Man City. Wow, yeah, beating Man City 2-0. And then it all kind of fell apart after that with the Wednesday games, with Arsenal beating Bayern Munich 3-1 and Frankfurt losing to Atalanta 3-0. But the game that caught my interest, besides the PSG 5-3 game against Tottenham,
with a red card, by the way.
With a red card, by the way, yes. The game that caught my attention the most was the Liverpool game.
Mm-hmm.
So Liverpool played PSV Eindhoven, one of the better Dutch league teams. Probably, I know people don't agree. Me personally, I think the best Dutch league team, especially just with years. I know Ajax had their great run, but I think PSV should have been more consistent. PSV goes into Liverpool and beats them 4-1, and Liverpool had the most shots, 27 versus 9 and 10 on target versus 6 on target. But ultimately, with Dutch league teams, they may not take as many shots, but they're efficient with their shots. And that was probably a good example there. It started with a penalty with them, of course, but after that, they really didn't feel like they were going to lose this game. I know at least 2 of those goals came in against the run of play. But we need to talk about Liverpool's form for a minute. And Patrick, this is really kind of more for you, because Donnie, I don't know how much you really, you probably don't keep up with Liverpool as much as some other people do here. Their form has been really suspect, I would say, in the past few weeks. In the last few competitions, this is starting from Saturday, September 27th. They lost to Crystal Palace 2-0 or 2-1. They lost to Galatasaray in Champions League 1-0. They lost to Chelsea 2-1. Lost to Man United 2-1. That was at Anfield. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt 5-1. Lost to Brentford 3-2. Lost to Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup 3-0. Then they beat Aston Villa 2-0. They beat Real Madrid 1-0. Explain that one to me. They lost to Man City 3-0. They lose to Forest 3-0. They lose to PSV 4-1, and then they come back and beat Liverpool. And then they beat West Ham 2-0. So out of those games I gave you, as of September 27th, I named 13 games. And out of those 13 games, they only won 4. So what is going on at Liverpool?
I think part of it's just a lot of new signings. What have they spent? Northwards of 400 million pounds, bordering on 500 million pounds in one transfer window. Mm-hmm. You think about the players they brought in. I think it's a lesson that just because you sign a bunch of expensive players doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work. I support a club where that's a great example of that. That just, it can work in time, but it doesn't work right away. And I think it also reemphasizes the importance of team. But Liverpool broke the transfer record twice in one transfer window when they got Florian Wirtz, who I think in the Champions League game wasn't even on the bench, was he? And that may have been due to injury.
I think that was. I think that was an injury.
But well, still, like Florian Wirtz has not exactly hit the ground running since he arrived at Liverpool. He's looked a lot better in the Champions League, I think, due to the pace of play difference between that and the Premier League. But certainly in the Premier League, he struggled to adapt to the pace, which is not uncommon for players that are arriving from the Bundesliga. Who's the right back again that they bought? It was Frimpong. And Frimpong has not fit in so far. He's struggled with the pace of the league. Kerkez has not been the same as he was. Was Kirkez at Brentford or was he at Bournemouth?
Kirkez was, oh god, it's gonna bother me now. I think he's Bournemouth. He's Bournemouth.
He was Bournemouth. Okay.
He's Bournemouth.
So Kirkez has not been nearly the player. I think partially because the central defenders that are trying to cover the areas that usually he leaves behind have not played nearly as well as what Bournemouth's defenders did last year. Bournemouth's defense last year was spectacular. The central defensive pair for Liverpool, while on paper looks good, has not performed up to the expected standard this season. I mean, that Konate has been shocking. I think Mike is making a good point here. Their core is old. I think Van Dijk has started to look his age a little bit. Obviously, Andy Robertson at left back has been deputizing for Kirkez because Kirkez has been out of form, but Robertson's not the same player that he's been. Isak is still trying to fit in. Ekitike has been one of their better signings, but he's even dropped off in form a little bit.
Where would you rate Gakpo?
Where would I rate Gakpo?
Yeah,
in terms of
like compared to looking at some of the other. I mean, we talked about Isak, we talked about Ekitike, we got Salah also.
Salah's been struggling mightily. I mean, he's just not showing up. He's been invisible in a lot of games. Gakpo he's up and down. I think he's inconsistent. He pops up with a good goal every once in a while. He's been okay, but certainly I don't think he's probably performed at the price that they expected. Certainly not this season, at least. I thought he was okay last season. I think he's been a little underwhelming this season, but I think it's just a lot of new players trying to fit in. I think really one of their best players has been Szoboszlai, who before the season started, everyone was wondering where was he going to play. Like you were wondering, was he going to have a place in the side? And Szoboszlai has been playing it right back where Frimpong was supposed to play. So, I mean, he's probably been arguably their best player. I think Gravenberch has regressed a little bit from the amazing season he had last year. I think he's been okay, but I certainly don't think he's been as stellar as he was last season. Allison has suffered as a result of a leaky defense. And I really think whatever could go wrong for Liverpool so far has been, and there could be other reasons for that. I mean, certainly people have brought up reasons for why that might be. But just based purely on what we're looking at on the pitch, I thought that we said this in the very first few weeks of the season when they were winning all their games. They were fortunate to be winning the games that they were. They were escaping games and not so much winning games impressively.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, their record pretty much they're just kind of a blah team. I mean, 7 wins, no draws, 6 losses, 20 goals for, 20 goals against. Like, you can't get more average than that. I mean, you really can't. It's like they're just not. They're not really. And they're in the middle of the table. I mean, they are just like the perfect middle of everything right now.
Yeah, which is shocking considering that they won the title without making any signings in the previous season. I mean, they spent almost no money in their title winning season last season. I think maybe I'm trying to think of what they did. They might have made a loan. I think they made one signing. I think that was the Italian guy. Can't think of his name at the moment, but I think he was the only signing that they made. So they spent like $3 million on a signing, and then they won the title. Oh, look at that! Someone knows all about average.
Oh, somebody's paying attention.
Oh man,
It's about Leone.
He's
no, not Leone. I'm talking about the season before last. The winger. That because Leone's like had a season-ending injury.
Federico Chiesa.
Yeah, Chiesa. There we go.
Chiesa.
Yeah. So Chiesa, I think, was their only signing before that, and then, like I said, because they didn't spend any money the previous season, they just went wild this past close season, and they have not I mean, their signings have not bedded in yet. Maybe over time it'll be okay, but as we've learned from other sports, you don't get time at these big clubs. I mean, you don't get time to bed in players. Like it's incredible that Arne Slot's job is being talked about being in jeopardy when he just won the Premier League last season. But when you've got people like Jamie Carragher saying he has 1 week to save his job, I mean, that's the kind of crazy environment that we're in now. And it's not just Liverpool, but when you're spending these inordinate amounts of money, these owners are expecting that you're going to win now.
Well, do you think it's warranted that that's even coming up?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think it's going to take. I think anyone you bring in is going to ask for time, and I mean, it doesn't help, I guess, when you have examples of people coming in like Sean Dyche, coming into Nottingham Forest and getting wins right away. But I also think winning at one of these top 6 clubs is much different than winning at some of these other clubs.
I mean,
Just because of the crazy amounts of money that you spend and the players that you bring in, and the expectations are just different. It just is.
It's like the top college football. It's like you
Yeah.
put all this money in, and
Yep.
we expect results. And if it's your 1 year in, you're 2 years in, and you're not doing it, see ya.
Yep.
Very few people are going to get time to
Yeah.
anymore. I mean, it used to be you got 5 or 6 years to kind of get something going. Now it's like 2 or 3 years, and you better be on the upswing or you're out.
Well, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night more,
Yeah.
like in more detail. But like Lane Kiffin's expectations at Ole Miss are much different than they are at LSU.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's not disrespecting Ole Miss as an institution. It's just a different set of expectations for what their fans have become accustomed to. And it's the same thing in the Premier League, and it's the same thing in not just England, but it's the same thing in Germany. It's like at Bayern Munich, if you don't win the title, you're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, ask Thomas Tuchel. I mean, it's at PSG, if you're not winning the title, and if you're not winning the title plus other trophies, you're gone because of how much money they spend.
Yeah.
And is it fair? I mean, you can argue about whether it is or not, but these managers also know that what the remit is when they take these jobs. I mean, I don't think they're under any illusions that it's any different than that.
When we talk about that, I think a good example of that is what's happening in Scotland right now.
Yeah.
Because Celtic already had to fire their manager, I think once already.
Yep.
And, they have closed in on Hearts. They're only 2 points up against Hearts, but Hearts is still first in the league. And usually even this far in the season, that's usually unheard of.
Yep.
But before we get into something else that's going to make me mad, let's talk about, have you guys really been following the championship recently?
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain team that has basically risen from the bottom and is sitting nice in the mid-table right now. And they have gone on a pretty decent run. And I am talking about the debutantes of the championship, Wrexham.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about them before. Wrexham was probably I think they were sitting around maybe 20th, 21st.
Mm-hmm.
They are now sitting at 10th with a 6-game unbeaten streak. Their last loss was actually no, that's not even true. Their last loss was the EFL Cup to Cardiff. So before that, they're on an 8-game unbeaten streak. Their last loss was to Stoke, and that was back on October 18th. So they've been able to. It's been a win, a draw against Middlesbrough, a win against Oxford United. This is the big one here. A win 3-2 against Coventry. Coventry is sitting 10 points above right now in the top of the table. And to beat Coventry really at all is as big as an upset as you could think.
It's their only loss of the season, too, for Coventry.
Exactly. Then Portsmouth was a draw 0-0. They beat Charlton Athletic 1-0. Ipswich was a draw. Wrexham beat Bristol City 2-0, and then Blackburn was a draw. So they're winning their home games, and they are getting points on the road, which makes for a very successful. I don't know if that'll make promotion. If you want to make promotion, you got to start winning some of these away games. But good showing at first. What started out to be not a good start for them. I wasn't going to say they're going to be relegated, but they were definitely struggling at first. So
Yeah.
nice to see a turnaround on that.
And, yeah, I mean, I feel like the word maybe is they've consolidated their place in the championship at this point. I mean, there's still a lot of games to go, but like their recent form has allowed them to consolidate a competitive spot in the championship as of this recording. But it's really impressive that people who are asking about Phil Parkinson's job, the job that he's done to kind of right the ship and kind of bed in. He had a lot of new players to bed in as well. He's done a really, really good job. Phil Parkinson is a seasoned championship manager. I mean, he knows this division in and out. But yeah, good for them. And then also, I got to give a shout out to Birmingham as well. I mean, Birmingham has been another one that struggled a little bit to start the championship season, and now they're in 7th position. Now they've spent a lot of money, but
yeah, Wrexham, when we talked about them early in the season, it was like, okay, they got through the first season in the league, and then this season they had some guys that went out on loan. They had a lot of different guys. It was like a whole new collective of guys that were trying to learn how to play together, and it seems like they're starting to do that.
They picked up some talented players.
Yeah.
So
it took a little bit for those talented players to start gelling, I think.
100%.
It's kind of what it was.
Yeah. I mean, and that happens at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about Premier League clubs. We talked about Liverpool, but I mean, it happens in the championship too. But
and it'll be interesting to see, not to go back to the documentary series, but it'll be interesting to see how this has played out through that perspective once that's released.
Yeah. Well, I'm impressed with how sustainable this has been.
Yeah.
I was expecting, like, when they first invested, that it was going to be not that it was going to go badly or anything, but I thought it was going to be a little volatile in terms of like, okay, you can get out of the National League with some investment. I get that. League Two, probably about a little bit more investment, but about the same. But when you start talking League One and Championship, I mean, you're starting to get into serious money. You're not at Premier League money, but the Championship requires a significant amount of investment when you compare it to a National League side.
First off, sorry about that.
No.
Secondly, I feel like you would have to double between League One and Championship to even be competitive in Championship.
100%.
And maybe even more than that.
Because, and Virgil, you know this, like, you can be competitive in League Two and League One and get promotion. That's a very achievable thing. But when you start getting to the Championship, I mean, that you could argue the Championship is the toughest competition in world football. I mean,
that's a hill I die on.
Well, I mean, because you're talking 46 games against, you're playing. You have Premier League teams that are talking about having to play. Donnie, you were saying it earlier. You're playing on a Sunday, a Thursday, and then a Saturday, or a Sunday, Thursday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically doing that every week in the Championship.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're not doing European competition, but you're playing league fixtures on a Saturday, on a Wednesday, or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then on a Saturday again. And with peanuts compared to some of the investment that these Premier League clubs have. So to be a club, when you get relegated from the Premier League and go back down to the Championship, or if you get promoted from League One to go into the Championship, that's a very, very tough ask.
Well, and I think too, again, watching how this has unfolded season to season, through the series they have, you see that they're not trying to do it at every level with the same people. They understand that as they move up, some of the people that help them get there have to be replaced with people that can help them continue to stay there or go further. And, you feel bad for those people because you kind of learn them watching. But at the same time, it's like, those people also understand they know their role and they serve their role, and then they move on to something else. And the one thing I've learned in this time with you guys following the different levels of soccer is it's ever changing. I mean, I'm not used to this kind of change in all the American sports. I mean, there's change. This is like free agency on steroids is what this is. And it's crazy to kind of keep up with year to year during season, loaning out, that whole process of that. It was foreign to me. Still getting used to, but I mean, that kind of stuff is just a whole other level that we on American sports level don't even comprehend. I mean, that's like, the some AAA team for one club loaning their player to the major league team of somebody else or something like that, almost to some extent, or different major league teams loaning players or whatever.
I feel like the closest thing we have is the Rule 5 draft.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of it, but yeah.
But
because if you don't put them on the roster, they go back.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And and I know the rules don't necessarily exactly align with those two things, but when you look at like transfer totals, like, because when you're talking about the amount of money that is used in transactions in football versus baseball and American football, I mean, it's astronomically different, because I mean, when we're talking transfer fees, we're not even talking about a player's contract. That's I mean, the closest thing we have is like the Japanese posting fee when they put a like when the Japanese leagues put a player up for a posting fee,
right,
and a team paying that posting fee for the right to negotiate with the player. So when we're talking,
that's just the right to negotiate. That's not even the right to sign them. That's just the right to talk to them.
Like for right now, example, like Imai, right? The pitcher from Japan that's coming over is being posted up, and Murakami has been posted. That's the closest thing we have in football in baseball, is to do that. And it's just like you said, it's the transfer fee it's for the right to get the player. That's not even talking about his or her wages, or the length of contract, and the amortization on the books of the contract. I mean, all the stuff that Virgil does,
right?
Like Virgil understands better than I do, I am sure. But I mean, you have billions of pounds and billions of euros that, like, I'm trying to remember what the last transfer window amount was, but I think it eclipsed £1 billion like last year sometime. And and you're like, that's just teams switching money to get players. That's not even including the contracts.
Right. Yeah.
It's an incredible amount of money that is just thrown around. And right now it's gotten to be so silly that you're paying £40 million for a middling player.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like in the coaches I've got is in basketball, where if you're tall, you're making $15 million, even if you're not that skilled of a player. Just by the virtue of the fact that you're tall and can play center, you're going to get a big contract.
The NBA contracts are a whole other nightmare too.
And I know it's not apples to apples, but it's the closest I've got as far as trying to compare it to American sports for people, is that now, I mean, you've got a guy that would have gone for £2 million probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Now the quotes for him are 20 and 30 million pounds. And I mean, that's what you used to pay for star players, even like almost, like I said, 8 to 9 years ago. The record just gets more and more ridiculous. Alexander Isak would have gone for 25 million pounds probably 7 or 8 years ago. And now you're talking 120 plus million pounds to bring him in.
Yeah.
I mean, those were things that you talked about with your Messis of the world. I mean, there were only like 1 or 2 players in the world that you would even quote that type of number for. Now you've got, even though Isak is a nice player and he's a talented player, he's not worth 120 million pounds. I mean, Messi and Ronaldo would be the only players that I would say were even worth that.
Yeah.
And there's, I mean, maybe 1 or 2 other ones. Maybe 1 or 2 other ones.
I would probably throw Mbappe in there.
And I mean, and shoot, Mbappe's gone for that price.
Yeah.
He was, when PSG got him from Monaco, wasn't it like 120 million pounds or something?
Yeah,
like that?
It was around that deal of that.
Yeah. I mean, and then the really crazy one was what Neymar went to PSG for from Barcelona. What was that? 189 million pounds, I think is what it was, or 189 million euros.
See, I thought it was 175, but
it might be. It
I have
might
to go
be,
back
but
and look at that one.
it was
I
an
think
astronomical
it was
number.
definitely a huge number.
And now that you've got Saudi teams, Saudi Pro League teams inflating prices, they're not the only ones. Chinese teams did it to start with, Chinese Super League, and now the Saudi Pro League. You've got, again, middling players that are going to make a king's ransom to go play in other leagues. I mean, it's just, and I don't blame the players. I mean, if you have someone that's willing to go and pay you that to go and play, I mean, if it doesn't go against your moral compass, go ahead. I mean, it's, I mean, you got to decide for you what that is. I mean, I'm certainly not someone here to judge that. By the way, shout out to Montreal. Sorry, bonjour. And let's see. I'd like to charge strangers to talk to me. Phil, I'll talk to you for free, my man. Just to be in your presence, good sir.
Absolutely.
But
and for this Eric guy up here, we'll get the FCS soon.
Yeah. And I'm gonna be quiet now because I've been going on and on. I'm gonna let you guys just chime back in.
Oh no, that was actually great insight.
Absolutely,
I love that. I want to talk about this for a minute because I want to make sure if this is the right thing I'm thinking about. Is this the Arsene Wenger rule that we're talking about, that the change that he wants to make, that they're trying to implement? Yeah, because I'm not aware of anything else.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one are you talking about, Virgil? Because I'm not aware of any rules either.
So the Arsene Wenger rule with offsides is basically changing it to, instead of a portion of your body being offside, that it's your entire body.
Oh,
so basically what his rule is saying is that if you are basically crossed over him, but you still have a foot or a body part that is on that defensive line, you are now onside. Instead of the opposite, where if it was even a little piece, like a hair follicle was protruding, you'd been offside. And I think that's what the change is.
Yeah, I like that if that's the case.
I'm not against it. There's been a lot of offside calls. I'll go back and going back and look at the videos, and I'm like, seriously, it's like his little elbow is just protruding out there. It's like, that is pinpoint.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's no advantage from that.
None at all.
No.
I mean, if your entire body is like half a step in front of them, okay. But like you said, if it's a hair follicle or like your ear is like a millimeter in front of somebody else's elbow, or something ridiculous like that, that's on the defender if you can't defend that. And that's coming from someone who was a defender. I mean,
so this is what it shows from October. FIFA plans to change the offside rule ahead of the World Cup. Offsides will only be called if the entire body of the attacking player is closer to the opponent's goal than the defender's body. In that case, the situation shown, as they got a photo here, top left, would no longer be considered offsides. And then it said, you said something about the winger rule, which I don't know anything about. It says the so-called winger rule will be reviewed in November with a vote scheduled for March, and it's said to have strong chance of approval.
Patrick, do you want to do it, or do you want me to do it?
You go ahead, Virgil. I think you caught it first.
So the winger rule, Arsene Wenger is he was I know he didn't only coach at Arsenal, but he is known for his time at Arsenal.
He was at Monaco as well, but he was also he's mainly known for his time at Arsenal.
Right, but he's a very influential coach, and he was really pushing this rule because really it kind of makes offsides a lot more practical, because a lot of the offsides traps that you see bailed out bad defending for being offsides. So I think that kind of fits that a portion of that. So
and he works for FIFA now too, doesn't he?
He does work for FIFA. I think that's the other reason why it's being pushed. So yeah, I'm okay with that change. The thing that I'm kind of interested in that they're going to be bringing out, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. VAR probably is going to have authority about what's a corner kick versus a goal kick, and second yellows. Like I said, I like VAR. I know sometimes people complain about the flow of the game stopping. I'll be curious how that is on corner kicks and goal kicks, because usually that's to be a little more split decision. If those are quick, like some of the other ones are, I have no problem with that. But it looks like they're going to try to implement that this year too. So that is kind of what the big thing I'm kind of looking forward to seeing is But before we get into FCS, we have to talk about our other league that we have teams in, and that is La Liga. And if you guys forgive me for a minute, let me make sure I have the right scores here. Donnie, congratulations to your Atletico Madrid team beating Real Oviedo 2-0.
Yeah.
I gotta beat that bottom. Gotta beat the bottom team there.
Hey, you can only play who's in front of you.
That's exactly that is the mentality I've always been told from Big Ten teams. Have you been able to watch any of Atletico Madrid?
Not in the last few weeks. I did watch them a few weeks ago. I'd have to look and see of their match schedule. It's been a few weeks because I've had so many other things going on, and actually they played at the same time. The Getafe, is it
Getafe?
Getafe. That game was on at the exact same time, I think, as Crystal Palace that week, which was the Sunday before Thanksgiving. I think it might have been a week or so before that I saw them. I saw a little bit of them against Barcelona, maybe that Saturday, the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen bits and pieces, but yeah, the last couple of matches, I have not seen anything from them.
Yeah, that's the problem with having different teams from different leagues. Sometimes they will just play at the same time, and you can't find a way to watch both unless you have like the screens to do it.
Yeah, and I have that's what's getting me with, like, even with the Premier League and Bundesliga, I'll have one on the TV and one on my phone, depending on what they're playing on, because stuff's on Peacock, stuff's on ESPN, stuff's on wherever. So Paramount, whatever. It's like you can't just split screen them on multiple platforms, apparently. So that kind of sucks.
It's hard to keep track of, for sure. Some leagues you can't even find, so it's kind of. Luckily, the one thing I will say about this day and age, there's a lot more availability now with some of these leagues that you feel like you couldn't really find before.
Yep.
Like we always end up circling back to the Dutch league at some point. A lot of those games are on ESPN Plus, and I remember when I was watching it, probably back like maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, like they were not easy to find.
Yeah.
So, and like I can't even watch Bundesliga 2 games now. Like, I didn't think that was going to be possible.
Well, that's like tomorrow. I see that we're playing Barcelona again at 3. I will probably be working at that time, but depending on where that game is at, I'll probably pop it up on my phone while I'm working.
I bring this up multiple times, Virgil, but we remember the days of Fox Sports World.
Oh, absolutely. I miss Fox Sports World more than anything.
Yeah, so do I. But I mean, I don't miss what I paid for it.
No. And so for Ed's team, Villarreal, they beat Real Sociedad 3-2. And that's really it. There's no other Liga game to talk about. There's nothing else.
There's no more.
Well, no, Real somebody beat Severgil here.
Well, I was going to say, what was the Severgil result?
That didn't happen. That there's no. I'm sorry. Listen, the only Sunday games I see Villarreal beating Real Sociedad. I see Celta Vigo losing to Espanyol and Girona and Real Madrid tie. That's the only thing there. There's nothing else there.
Well, I seem to remember.
It looks like Real Jerome. The Real Jerome Bettis beat Severgil.
Oh, wow.
Man, that's so bad. I thought Patrick would have said it.
I was trying to get it out before. I thought he was going there. That's why I was trying to beat him to it.
Oh, man. Listen.
Anyway, move along.
Well, listen, if we do that, we'd have to park the bus, right?
See, there you go. That's
all right.
No, but yeah. So what happened to Severgil? And another red card. Were there a lot of red cards this past, like between the Champions League and?
It sounds like y'all are talking about a lot of red cards. I didn't remember any red cards in my games.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of red cards across the leagues between the Champions League and the league this past weekend. Were there not?
I feel like every time there was let me look at the Champions League games real quick
because Barcelona Chelsea had one. PSG Tottenham had one. And then at least in the Premier League,
Dortmund Villarreal had one, Galatasaray and Union St. Gilles had one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Bournemouth had one this weekend.
Bournemouth had
Chelsea,
one.
Arsenal had one.
I mean, I
West
would say
Ham.
there's a lot of holiday
West Ham.
tension, but these guys, it's not a holiday for those guys over on that side.
Well,
man.
I'm afraid they think that red cards are Christmas cards, and they're
Maybe so.
yeah, and they're definitely not. Or someone had a bad Thanksgiving. I'm not sure, what it was. Of course, most of them were European based.
I was
so
going to say,
probably
they're
don't
not
even care.
celebrating Thanksgiving. That's our thing.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say everybody. Tyler Adams certainly enjoyed his Thanksgiving. But,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that was a.
But
that was-
yes, Sevilla lost to Real Betis 2-0.
Who is Sevilla?
So on to FCS now.
So Virgil.
No, actually, I don't want to leave yet. I gotta give props. We gotta talk about since Phil has listened to us a lot during the show. During the show, just in general, as we started this, we have to give props out to Furman.
Yeah.
Still in the NCAA soccer tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They,
shout out to you, Phil.
I meant to have that pulled up here because Phil, you could probably tell me, but I was trying to remember who they played moving forward now.
So we are down to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Right now.
So Portland.
Sorry, not Final Four. My bad. I'm not right. Not Final Four. We are down to the Elite Eight right now.
8. Yeah.
So we have Furman against Portland.
Portland.
We got Akron against St. Louis, the Billikens. We got Washington against Maryland and Georgetown against NC State.
All I had to say is go Paladins.
Absolutely, go Paladins. Although I'm afraid, once again, and I think Portland Pilots are purple. We have more purple on purple lines.
Uh-oh.
Can't have that going. Can't have that going.
Listen, the first one to send Virgil merch gets his support.
No, I'm not gonna be one of those people. But guys, let's talk about FCS.
Ooh, what a weekend!
Man, that is definitely understated. There were some blowouts. There were some disappointments, mostly from teams I picked.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like I looked at all the results this weekend and I'm like, did I even get one right?
Yes, you did. You did. You got quite a few right.
Me on the other hand, didn't feel like it.
No, I only got half right because I put too much faith in Drake, and Tennessee Tech made me cry.
Well, who saw that? Who saw Tennessee Tech's performance coming?
I think everybody else but me.
Did I pick? I thought I picked Tennessee Tech to win.
I think you probably picked Tech also. I don't remember. But the game that everybody is talking about, and some people have called garbage because they don't understand the pageantry of FCS. And someone's being really smug right now about it.
Oh, man.
Youngstown State was leading at half against Yale 35-7. There were remarks about should the Ivy League even be in this tournament because Harvard got destroyed by Villanova.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Harvard, both of them was like they could not score any points. But Yale
and who beat Harvard also a few weeks ago?
Yale 2 weeks ago. Yep. And Yale turns it around and wins 43-42. Their running back had 32 carries, 209 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Pitzenberger. They interviewed him during the selection show, and I said, that guy is legit. I'd like to see what he's going to do against Montana State. Do I think they're going to win that game? Who knows at this point? But so let me tell you about this week for me, about this game, because this was on the same time as Oklahoma State, Iowa State. So I watched, no, they didn't win. So I watched that game first, and then I was looking at the halftime scores and saw 35-7. So it's like, okay, whatever. Hate to see that. I mean, I like Youngstown State, but at the same time, I hate to see a blowout like that because I was expecting a little more out of the Ivy League schools. once the Oklahoma State game was over, I saw Yale was about to come back. So I flipped it over, and then they went ahead. To say that my jaw dropped was an understatement. I don't know if you guys saw any highlights of this game, but like, what do you think of this? Because to have a collapse like this, especially from a team that I would say a quality team like Youngstown State, like I said, they gave North Dakota State trouble. They gave South Dakota State, when they were still fully healthy, trouble. This was a massive collapse on their side. Like, I don't believe you should fire a coach after a game, especially after the season that they've had. But where do you go from here if you're Youngstown State?
I didn't see the game, and I haven't really seen a whole lot about it other than the fact that Yale just came back. Was it the defense of Youngstown State that just stopped playing, or was it luck plays? I mean, they were down 35-7 at the half. So,
well, first off,
I was actually shocked that they came back, because I think I did see an early score on this, but I didn't see this coming out like this at all.
Really, for Youngstown State, it was just kind of a bunch of 3 and outs. Later on, they had a fumble on the third on the drive. They had a missed field goal, as we call the Eric Prophet special. Yale just kind of turned up on defense.
Just like a slow burn in the second half, and it just sort of caught up to them.
Because Yale scored touchdowns on all their drives in the second half.
Okay.
And a lot of these, and here's the time for those drives. 5 minutes, 39 seconds, 4 minutes, 52 seconds, 2:38, 4:36, 10 seconds. And that's it. Their touchdown, then they go up ahead, was one play, 56 yards, 10 seconds. That's all they needed to take ahead after Youngstown State had 3 and out punting. If Youngstown State gets that field goal in the fourth, we may not be talking about this because they would have that lead 45-43.
Right.
But they looked sloppy in the second half, because in the first half, Youngstown State only had a missed field goal and a punt. All their other drives were touchdowns. Yale had a fumble. They had an interception. They had 2 interceptions in the first half, so they were basically struggling. And you can chalk that up to your first time being there, because you're going to have nerves being in a playoff game if you're not used to that environment. So Yale just kind of got their in life for a better term, got their shit together in the second half.
Yeah, I was just kind of, after you said that, I flipped over to the box score, and you're right. I was just looking at Yale was interception, punt, interception, and then it's just touchdown, fumble, end of half, and then second half, touchdown, end of game. It's just whoa.
So you were going over those, Virgil, you were going over the times of possession on that?
Yeah.
For Yale in the second half. Is that why Lane Kiffin's decision was delayed? Because Ole Miss loaned him to Yale to do a bunch of quick offensive drives and then lead them on the comeback, and then he went back to Oxford to make his decision?
Patrick, you're the only person I know with that. We could talk about Yale football and still bring up Lane Kiffin somehow.
But am I wrong with the time of possession? I mean, that is
kind of the same style, to be fair. Yes.
And I know, I could say the same thing about that being a few coaches, like a certain new Auburn head coach that we'll talk about tomorrow, I'm sure. But about those high tempo, quick style offenses, that's become the new thing. But this game, to kind of equate it to D1, it reminds me of the South Carolina Texas A&M game.
Ooh, that's a good comparison.
Big lead. Only in terms of the big lead. I mean, maybe not the way all the possessions came out, but a very, very big lead that you shouldn't drop. And I'm not saying this to try to get Donnie's ego up, because I'm not trying to hate on South Carolina with this, but it is similar in terms of Youngstown State got comfortable with the lead, and then you take your foot off the gas a little bit, and then Yale is all gas, no brakes. All
Yeah, I mean,
gas,
it
no
does look
brakes.
like Yale's first 4 touchdown, our first 4 possessions in
Yeah,
the second half were 13 plays, 5
yeah,
minutes, 11 plays, 4.5, almost
yeah,
5 minutes. Like
yeah.
they were burning off clock, and then Youngstown State was like
And
a couple minutes here, a couple minutes there, not doing
and
anything. So yeah, it was just
well, and this may be a weird thing to say considering it's a 43-42 game. You got to give Yale's defense some credit, at least in the second half,
Oh,
for
absolutely.
for doing for stepping up when they could have easily just said this game's done. They're
yeah,
like they at least had some pride. I won't say it was a great performance from the Yale defense because they did allow Youngstown State to drop 42 on them.
right.
But to show up in the second half the way they did and um, give up minimal points to kind of support their offense coming back, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
team effort, and you have to step it up at least in all three phases at some point to try to complete that comeback. And Yale did exactly that. So,
Yep.
um,
Good night, Mike.
Good night, Mike.
yeah,
We'll see you tomorrow, Mike.
night, Mike. Come on, you Blues.
Well,
But
the best way to put, I mean, you kind of summed it up. Whatever adjustments they made worked.
mhm.
Yeah.
So,
And
like, yeah, you can. I kind of, when you look at defenses overall, yes, you can say they give up 42 points, and that is true. On paper, that's what it looks like. But if you compare first half, second half stats, yeah, you can say they play defense well.
well, that's why it's important when we look at these games. Scores don't always tell you the whole story.
Right.
Um, because like you said, there's context to all of this. Just like anything that we talk about on these shows, there's always context to all of it. I mean, like if you see a 1-0 game in soccer, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a boring game. I mean, or even a 0-0 game, it doesn't necessarily mean it was boring. If you do like what Donnie's been doing and you actually watch the games, because Donnie, I don't want to speak for you, but like, you know, I know that you had a perceived notion of how these games might go or how entertaining they maybe or may not be before you started watching them. And then now that you started watching them, is it fair to say that your opinion's a little different now? I mean, I won't
Mhm.
speak for you,
Yeah.
but and yeah, there are boring games. Obviously, I mean, shoot, I watch Chelsea games sometimes, and in certain weeks, it's like I'd almost rather watch paint dry
Yeah.
because the quality was so poor and it's just boring. But then there's other games where it's like end to end stuff, and it's kind of football that you want to watch. And
Well,
sometimes in American football and FCS games, I'm sure it's the same thing. But like I'm sure at the halftime of the Youngstown State game, if you're a Yale fan, you're like, I don't even know if I want to watch the second half. And
right. I
then
mean, and I found with the
yeah,
soccer, the different levels, there's a lot of similarity where like the top level can be more games that are boring because they're the elite versus some of the scrappier lower levels that are like FCS. It's like, damn, these are much better games.
yeah,
They're more active, more
yeah,
hunger in the players.
yep,
I mean, the big like you talked about earlier with the money, and I don't want to rehash all that, but you got the big fat happy checks. You're just out there going through the motions and getting your customary goals and all. Like,
yeah,
no, I want some like that Canadian Premier League shit. That was fun to watch. That
yeah,
was just like high advanced rec league ball, and those guys were I mean, they're not making a ton of money, and
no,
they're out there in the worst conditions. I even showed Rhonda there was a game I think they were made the headline was like such and such played in the snow. And I'm like, well, that's not snow. I showed her that. I'm like, that they're calling this game in the snow? No,
and
that's barely a flurry. Like they're
yeah,
not having to clear the pitch.
yeah.
We saw snow.
Well, and just like I think you can make the same case for FCS.
Yeah,
You can't judge like a league. You can't just assume a league doesn't have good players. The
right.
Canadian Premier League has good players.
Yeah.
The
These
FCS,
FCS teams are
yeah,
fantastic teams.
FCS has great players.
Yeah.
I mean, um, you can name players at a lot of these schools that have either one gone on to play in the NFL or they've transferred to a D1 school and they've been an impact player.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like what is it? North Dakota State that's had Was Josh Allen Wyoming?
Josh Allen
Yes.
was Wyoming.
Okay, because I'm trying to think. Carson Wentz is who I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz was what, North Dakota State or North
State.
Dakota?
State.
North Dakota State. So it's proof that players that play at this level can play in the NFL. Because
Well, that's like when I was
Carson Wentz, before he got injured, he had some good. He had a couple of decent seasons, and he was what was he the? He was one of the first quarterbacks taken, right? I mean, it was.
Yeah,
I believe he was. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it was,
that year. I
yeah.
mean, he wasn't the first one taken, but he was a first round selection.
Right.
But so
I remember back when like I heard where Jerry Rice came from, or there were a few other guys. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like in the 80s, you're like, wait, where did this guy come from? Like that was unheard of back then.
Like I said, Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley State.
Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah.
Sterling McNair,
yeah,
Alcorn State.
Sterling Sharp, Savannah State.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp.
Yeah,
Shannon.
Sorry, Savannah. That's what I meant to say. I said Sterling, and I'm like, wait a minute.
We know what you meant.
But Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp.
Right. And that's funny
State.
because a lot of the guys we just mentioned, well, I mean, Steve McNair could have been, if he'd have survived, could have been one of those others that was maybe a Hall of Famer. But these guys became Hall of Famers. So that's the thing. You don't have to necessarily be at LSU or wherever to make a statement. And that's what some of these kids need to understand too.
Look at LSU this year. I'll call them out on it. Look at LSU this year. You don't have to be at LSU and necessarily be good.
Right.
And also, I think about players like Kurt Warner and Joe Flacco, for example. Kurt Warner came from Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Northern Iowa, not Illinois. And Flacco came from Delaware when Delaware was an FCS.
Yeah.
So it's like, you'll have players like that that will come through that system.
Yeah. And if you've been at a big program, it doesn't necessarily mean you'll translate to the NFL. There's a lot of Alabama quarterbacks that have done nothing in the NFL. AJ McCarron comes to mind. I mean, there's a lot of D1 quarterbacks at big schools that have, been drafted and they don't necessarily do anything.
Surprised they didn't drop Greg McElroy there.
Well, I wasn't talking about people who went almost straight to punditry almost exclusively.
That is true.
Yeah, but Greg McElroy is a good shout though. I mean, a lot of times it comes down to the player, and these FCS schools, I'm really glad that we talk about them because they deserve more respect than they get. And I, as someone who admittedly has not known much at all about FCS teams before this year, I've appreciated the opportunity to get to learn from you guys about how special some of these places are. And it's fun now to go and see people who are wearing shirts, and I'm like, I know a little bit about that team now.
Yeah, I got to admit, going with FCS with that, I'm kind of experiencing that with D2 now. Because I don't really follow that as much. Like I'll follow like Western Alabama because they're like the local one, and then like in basketball, UAH, of course, because but like outside of that, really, there's not much.
Just not Alabama State.
Absolutely not.
We don't talk about them.
We do not talk about Alabama State. No.
Nope. Alabama A&M all day.
Absolutely. So let's go over some of the other games, their playoff games this week. Harvard, oh man, just got absolutely destroyed by Villanova 52-7. Really, there's
not a good advert for the Ivy League there.
No. Yale saved the Ivy League, but man,
Donnie, you cursed them.
Well, going into this, and this is one of the questions that I was asking. I think I've said it on here before. Maybe we don't know how the Ivy League really matched up with the other conferences,
right?
And now we finally kind of see. We kind of have an idea a little bit because Youngstown State, albeit they were a 7-5 team, 8-5 team. They're still in the Missouri Valley, which is the SEC of FCS. So like that's a deep league. That's going to be a quality team. It's going to be a hard team. And it probably took everything for Yale to beat them. And then we go over to CAA, which I'm not the It used to be the Colonial. I think it's a Coastal something now. I'm not sure.
Isn't that the sports agent's agency? CAA?
There is,
yeah. But they played against Villanova. Villanova is they didn't win the conference, but I mean they're a top team in that, and they completely destroyed the second best team in the Ivy League.
Yeah,
and
Jay Wright's done a great job as football coach.
That's not how that works. So that's like saying Tommy Amaker did a bad job. So, and sometimes it's mostly could be matchups. Thank you. And most of these times it's just matchups. Like if it's another CAA team, could Harvard beat them? Probably. If it was maybe a Monmouth or William and Mary, could Harvard beat them? Most likely. But that's the thing. We don't really know. It's all based on teams and not conferences.
Yeah.
Good point.
So going on to other games, this scoreline kind of surprised me, and I actually kind of tuned in a little bit to this one because I thought maybe they had a shot to pull this off. Rhode Island only beat Central Connecticut 27-19. Now, the Northeastern Conference is not a powerhouse conference. That I can say for sure. They're a one big league, but Rhode Island was one of those teams that I really had questions with during the season, and this kind of doesn't beat the allegations of them being fraudulent. But they're going to have to get their crap together because you know who they play next week. And they have to win that game.
It
is the Cowards.
Is that at Coward Arena?
That is at Coward Arena.
Okay.
Sooner or later, we're going to have like a UC Davis alum come on here, and then we're going to have to explain the whole thing.
Well, it's easy. Don't cancel games.
Don't cancel games.
Central Connecticut's quarterback had 62 passing attempts. That's insane. He was 35 for 62.
It's like watching a Western Carolina game.
I mean, Rhode Island was 30. He was 24 for 38. But I mean, good God Almighty!
Did Jacoby Brissett go to Central Connecticut State?
No, Jacoby Brissett did not go to Central Connecticut State.
Well, I mean, the numbers would say that he did, but
yes, that is true.
But yeah, that was probably one of the more shocking results of the weekend. Not with the ultimate result, but just I didn't expect Central Connecticut State to be that close. I expected Rhode Island to kind of coast through that one.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And that was actually in a week of what I thought were really hard picks, really challenging picks to make, because when you get to this point, you've got elite teams, right? So you don't know, anyone can beat anybody, regardless of seeding. I think that's one little thing I feel like I did know about FCS is that it's kind of a free for all at this point. As long as you get in, anything can happen. But that was one of the easier games I thought to pick, and it almost flew up in my face. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought maybe out of all these games, probably not the easiest to pick. There's one further down here that I thought was easier, but definitely thought it was not going to be what it was. So that's what I like about playoffs. You really don't know until you're on the field. Next game we have Abilene Christian beating Lamar 38-20. This one didn't surprise me one bit. I think Abilene Christian is really a big sleeper in the playoffs. I would not be surprised to see them win their next game, honestly. And we'll go over that matchup soon. I think that's a really good team.
And that's a rematch from earlier this season, right? Because Stephen F. Austin played Abilene Christian.
Correct.
That's going to be a really good game. Didn't Stephen F. Austin win that one?
I think
earlier this season.
Let me double check. I was going to say yes, and I think I
feel like I picked Abilene.
Abilene Christian won that one 28-20.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's going to be a really good matchup then.
Yeah. So looking forward to that one. Illinois State beats Southeast Louisiana 21-3. A little surprised by that. I thought Southeast Louisiana State was going to be was going to have a better chance at it, but that's it goes back to Southland Conference. We don't know what they're really like until they play other teams.
Yeah. I feel maybe I just don't know enough about it, but I feel like Illinois State is one of the most powerful. Like they were to me, arguably the most dangerous unseeded team in this, like in this bracket. Just
Um,
I don't know. Maybe I was impressed with some of their results toward the end of the season, and they just have a. I mean, they really impressed me toward the end of the season. Maybe I'm going off of recency bias, but I
no,
felt
Well,
that's a
I mean, they lost to Youngstown State, but it was 40-35, and then they went on a run. They beat South Dakota at South Dakota.
right, and
They
that's the
beat
one I was thinking of.
they won at Indiana State. They won at South Dakota State as well,
They
and
beat
they
the Fighting
beat
Larry
Northern.
Birds.
They beat Northern Iowa. I mean, so they had some, and they lost. I mean, they got beat pretty handily by Southern Illinois. But I mean, you're
And,
right. They had a good, strong, for the most part, end of the season.
and see that Southern Illinois game, I bet I chose Southeast Louisiana because I thought you can't lose a game like that and expect. I thought maybe they just got worn out, and I was wrong.
Yeah,
I was wrong. But Illinois State to me, they're definitely if one of those other games like go their right way, just like by a little bit, like they're a seeded team. They would be a seeded team in my opinion.
yeah. Do you think if they hadn't lost to the Salukis, do you think they would have been a seeded team?
I think they would have been hosting. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I guess it's when they beat the Fighting Larry Birds that I'm like, this team is for real. Because it's always tough to be a team called the Fighting Larry Birds.
They're not called that right.
What?
They're not called that.
You're the only one that calls them that.
I mean, I think it's a great name.
I mean, I'll give you that, but
I mean, listen, I'm just going to shoot my shot, okay? So
I mean, it's a great fantasy team name.
it is. It is. I mean, I'm particular to like the Florida Fighting Donnies or the Los Angeles Valiant Virgils, or I have a new one for Virgil this week, by the way, Donnie. It's called the Indianapolis Industrious Virgils. Yep. Because
do you want to explain why now, or do you want to wait till tomorrow?
I love the way Virgil talked to all of his teams this week to make sure that I couldn't possibly win in fantasy football. Because not only was I beaten, I was roasted and then taken off of your expensive Traeger grill, put back on and grilled, taken off, and I admired your your fancy expensive Traeger grill, grilled again, and then I think I was finished off after that. I think I was smoked after that. But yeah. So I love the way I was very impressed with the way Virgil talked to his beloved teams. And even talked to my own team and said, you're not going to do anything this week because I'm facing Patrick. And he said,
yes, I'm the reason why Matthew Stafford had his worst game so far this year.
You're the reason that not only did he have 2 interceptions for the first time in like 3 years, but also that he had a pick 6. So it was something between you and Donnie because it was against the Carolina Courageous Donnies that happened. So that's my other new team, by the way. The Carolina, Carolina Courageous Donnies.
Yeah, we will talk about that game tomorrow because someone may have a crash out during that discussion.
Well, Donnie, I'll kind of start by saying congratulations on the win.
On what win?
Carolina Panthers.
Oh, okay.
Carolina Courageous Donnies.
Okay. No, see, I know what just happened. So Donnie's laser focused now because I believe somebody scored a touchdown on his team.
22-yard rushing touchdown that just flipped. I was about less than 20% chance to win, and now I have about 75% chance to win.
Aren't you facing Thrash?
Yeah. I have been twice since the second quarter of this game. At a deficit of like 80-20 or thereabouts, and it just flipped with that. I was sitting here like 10 minutes ago thinking, God, I need Singletary to bust off a run, and he just did. 22-yard touchdown run. I'm still a point. So Tom has the advantage of a 80-something yard punt return for a touchdown early in this game that gave the Patriots defense like 15 points off the bat. So
how does a punt return do that?
Because it's part of special teams and the defense. So you get the touchdown, you get points for the touchdown, you get points for all of the yardage on the return. And yeah, he all of a sudden his defensive special teams was like 15 points. I'm like, and neither one of my running backs even had a point yet when that happened. I'm like, crap.
I'm used to players not having points. I scored 68 this week against Virgil. I think Virgil could have beaten me with 2 players.
So, I don't want to derail it. That got my attention for a second.
But but I mean, I can't wait to tell someone who was on here earlier, oh, Patrick's going to win, and I'm never ever going to make it into the playoffs again. No. And guess who's going to be in the winners bracket this week, and guess who's going to be in the consolation bracket? This guy.
Oh, and will I be thanked by him for beating Patrick?
No, you will not.
I will not.
You know what? But you know what? I thought you made a great reference, Virgil, and I'm not going to steal it, but I hope you use it tomorrow night. You had a very salient comment when you and I spoke yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to even mention it because it's not. I think that you should talk about that if you feel it's appropriate at tomorrow. But I thought what you said was completely spot on.
Yeah, I will save that for tomorrow because I'll be good.
All I'll say is this: we need to get you that. There's a gift going around of that very thing, and you need to use it.
Yeah, I need to. I'll explain that tomorrow for sure.
But the point is, I had a horrendous week in fantasy football, and I just need to make sure I say it publicly. Virgil, congratulations and excellent performance.
I'm just as shocked as you are.
I'm not. I said I was going to lose.
Thank you.
No one ever believes me.
Yeah, but you always pour mouth yourself, so that doesn't hold up.
No, I said I was going to lose, and guess what? Not only did I lose, I lost spectacularly. So,
but
you said that 2 or 3 times before and did not. So
you guys need to start believing me when I tell you I don't know what I'm doing.
You guys also need to realize here I am close to reaching the accountant's dream of 7-7. I'm just 1 win away.
Or what are you right now? 6-7?
See, I wasn't going to make that joke. Okay, so going back to FCS before
you opened it up.
I know that's my fault. I feel ashamed. Before I close this show for good, North Dakota beats Tennessee Tech 31-6. That's probably my most disappointing game. I thought Tech was going to be a lot better than that, and I think North Dakota. And really, it was 10-6 going into the 4th, and North Dakota scores 21 points in the 4th.
Yeah. Do you think that Tennessee Tech was so embarrassed that they got absolutely destroyed by Kentucky that that derailed their season? Their coach warned that this could happen. I mean, it was.
But I go back to that UT Martin game, and they really escaped that game, and that probably should have been more of an indication.
Sure.
That they were going to be in trouble. And like I said, I bid on the Southern Illinois one thinking that, but I did not. I just threw the UT Martin one away like, that's just it's a rivalry game. What do you expect? So
yeah,
I was wrong on that one. And then the game that I found less surprising than that was more certain than the Rhode Island Central Connecticut game. South Dakota State beats New Hampshire 41-3. Really nothing to add on that one. A lot of people were kind of surprised New Hampshire was even in it. Honestly, I'm one of those people. But
I was surprised by the margin of victory, though, because South Dakota State was struggling coming into that game.
Well, I think they got their. I think they're back to full health.
Okay, that explains it. I mean, not that I expected New Hampshire to win. I mean, I expected South Dakota State to win, but I wasn't expecting quite the blowout that they ultimately had.
Yeah. And then the last game, South Dakota beats Drake 38-17. This actually was not terrible until probably the second half. South Dakota just pulls away. So I thought Drake was going to get the revenge game. They did not, but not a bad showing for Drake in my opinion, considering they're a pioneer. So that's it for this week. Let's talk about the matchups for next week, and of course, keep in mind.
Real quick, just because I was looking at the scores here, and we don't talk SWAC a whole lot, but did you see two win teams got wins this weekend? Southern beat Grambling, Mississippi Valley State, which we just talked about with Jerry Rice, beating Florida A&M 35-31 and Southern 28-20. I mean, they're close wins, but I mean,
So,
two teams with only two wins on the season got a victory.
man, Florida A&M got rattled.
I'm out of those two. I'm more surprised by Mississippi Valley State winning. Honestly, I know that was a home game for them, but usually they're kind of they struggle in this wax. Southern and Grambling, that's a rivalry game. That was Southern showing up for that.
Yeah, it looks like Mississippi Valley State's quarterback he had 4 touchdowns. They had 3 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown, so he was balling out.
But speaking of good, I'm glad you brought up Southern, Donnie. Because did you guys see who Southern's new coach is?
I did not.
I did.
And
with this carousel of coaches going on, I'm trying to keep track of where everyone's going.
I did see
who's leaving where, who's going up, who's going up here.
I'm going to give you credit because I don't want to give Prophet credit because I don't remember who it was, but I'm going to give it to you.
What?
Credit for knowing this.
Oh, credit for knowing this? Yeah. So another former NFL player is now a head coach.
Oh, yes, I did see. Yes.
That is Marshall Falk. Marshall Falk,
yes.
And it is going down to Southern to be their head coach.
I forgot that was texted in the group.
Are you talking about Indianapolis Colts legend Marshall Falk?
I'm talking about San Diego State legend Marshall Falk.
Well, I was going to say
St. Louis Ram legend.
No, we're not going to let St. Louis claim that. We're going to say the team that drafted him, Indianapolis Colts legend Marshall Falk.
So
he was part of the greatest show on turf, though.
He was, but so were a lot of players. But we'll let them have Isaac Bruce. We're going to take Marshall Falk for ourselves.
I think this is Orlando Pace erasure, but yeah, that was
good call with Orlando Pace.
Yeah, that was definitely a big surprise to see. And I'm not going to say a big surprise because he was the running backs coach for Colorado, so he has experience. Yeah. It's not like this is not a Deshaun Jackson, Michael Vick thing. Which I can't say that for Vick because I know he had some experience, but like they're not. He's had experience in college.
Yeah.
So it's going to be nice to see that. I'll be curious how he does. I like sharing stories like that. And I hope it works out because I also want Bethune-Cookman to realize they made a big mistake not hiring Ed Reed.
Good call.
Yeah. Because it's funny you said that because Ed Reed's Ed Reed's name went in my head as soon as you were talking about this here, and you said Ed Reed as I was thinking it. That's crazy.
Yeah. By the way, the dad has a new nickname, Ed Reed Vera.
Oh, speaking of that, who was that guy that was on Breakfast Takes this morning?
Never seen him before in my life.
Yeah, what was that?
Never seen him before in my life.
I didn't realize you got a new host.
Yeah.
Did y'all did he say the story on there as to why he did? Yeah, okay. I can't remember if he said it on the show or not.
Did he do what?
Why that happened. How he gapped himself up and had to shave it off.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about because I've never seen that person before in my life.
Okay. Let's keep going because we're approaching 10 o'clock here.
10 o'clock.
It's 10:30 here, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. 10 o'clock Central Time for the person that's hosting this show. So.
Oh,
Polly's hopping back in on the Kiffin train. We'll get to Kiffin tomorrow night, Polly. We're gonna have a lot to talk about that.
All I'll say is this: I feel like that is a very multi-layered story.
It is.
That wasn't even his dog. Like, what the hell?
What, Juice?
Yeah.
Is Juice not even his dog?
Apparently, Juice wasn't even his dog. Now, of course, that may be. I may have gone down a rabbit hole. That probably wasn't true, but that's what I read.
Well, listen, dog mascots work. I mean, the one from Mocha Magic is a genius.
And is the Juice loose? What are y'all talking about?
I'll tell you after the show. We're going to talk about it more on Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because really, there's a whole section on just the absolute circus that's come out since then. Yeah. And we're not going to talk about all of it, but we're just going to probably graze through a few things on that.
Yeah. But I do think it's a multi-layered story, and it's easy to say, it's easy to have perspectives depending on where you stand, but I feel like there's a lot more context to it that we don't know.
Yeah, it's a multi-layered. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's a multi-layered story, and all the layers are bad.
Well, it's funny this morning listening to Dan Patrick. He said when he first heard Lane Kiffin say that, he had prayed on it and he'd spoke to God. Dan said, my first thing that popped in my head is he called Nick Saban. He said, then I found out, he talked to Nick Saban and he talked to God. Okay.
Well, and he also talked to Pete Carroll, by the way.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, I was going to say because I mean he straight up told you what Pete Carroll said.
Yeah,
Pete Carroll
but
said,
it was just funny. Dan was like, when
"You'll
he
get
heard
that
him say,
opportunity."
when Dan heard him say something about talking to God, he's like, my brain went to Nick Saban, and then I found out, he talked to God and Nick Saban. Okay.
Well, it was interesting because I'd be interested to know, like, I don't really want to know because it's not my business, but I've always been curious about what Saban's relationship is with LSU at this point. Not that they had a bitter divorce or anything like that. I mean, he left for an NFL job, but
Yeah.
whenever you go back and you go to Alabama, obviously that's going to rub LSU fans the wrong way because of at least from our side, it's a rivalry. I don't know if the Lifetime series would tell you that, but at least from LSU's side, it's a rivalry.
Well, I don't think Nick's showing up pre-game or at the game wearing LSU gear like Mac Brown was at Texas this past weekend, but maybe one day.
maybe, but yeah. I mean, we'll get into it tomorrow night, but I think there's a larger issue at play than just Kiffin's decision. I think we've seen many examples this weekend of a larger issue that Nick Saban himself has brought up, rightfully so a couple of times. And then some other, was it Josh Pate, I think, that brought it up today too on Get Up. So,
well, imagine what the conversation would have been like this week if Auburn had actually pulled off the upset, because this would have dragged out another week minimum.
At least, but we'll talk about that tomorrow because I have some opinions on that too, especially with one Mr. Saban. So, as for the matchups for FCS, FCS, what we were talking about before.
Villanova, we didn't get derailed, did we?
No, of course not. We never get derailed here. So we've got Villanova go at Lehigh. We've got South Dakota at Mercer, which is making me a little nervous, not going to lie. Rematch from earlier this season, Illinois State at North Dakota State. Now, North Dakota State went down to normal and beat Illinois State. So things may not be looking good for the Cardinals, but, second time's a charm. We'll see if that happens. The game...
They're not going to be normal in Fargo.
Definitely not. The next game, Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin. This is the game I am waiting to see. I am looking. That
might be the game of the weekend.
I don't know about game of the weekend. I think there's going to be. Going to be another interesting one to mention soon.
Yeah,
I'm here. Well, I've got another one in mind. I'm going to be curious to see if it's the one that you're going to say.
Okay. But definitely, that's what I'm circling. North Dakota at Tarleton State. It is time.
That's one I want to see.
That's not my number one, but that is going to be the game that, okay, Tarleton, let's see what you really are.
Yeah.
That's
why I want to see. I'm like, we've talked about Tarleton all year long. They've been at the top all year long. And it's like, okay, now let's see what you're made of. You're right. Yeah. You gotta live up to that spot you got right there.
Yale at Montana State. Can Yale do it again?
I'm riding the Yale train. Not to give away any picks or anything. I'll make my final pick tomorrow, but
Thursday for this one.
Thursday. Excuse me, on Thursday.
Then South Dakota State at Montana. That is my second game.
Okay.
I think if South Dakota State's riding the ship and I think they've got their pieces back, that may be a lot more interesting than their records indicate. Now, I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I think, to me, that's going to be the more interesting game.
Never underestimate a jackrabbit.
Against a grizzly bear, though?
Hey, it can run.
That's true. But, of course, the game that we will all be watching, because it's at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, where everything else is like at 1 or noon. Rhode Island travels to the Cowards at UC Davis. Can Rhode Island make me the happiest man in Huntsville on Saturday and beat UC Davis? And as Donnie said, he wasn't going to give away his pick. I'm already giving away my pick on this. I think it's pretty obvious who I'm going for in this.
Well, listen, if what you're hoping happens actually does happen, Donnie and I are going to drive to Huntsville in his very expensive vehicle, and he's going to have a podium on the back, and we're going to put it out in front of your. I presume it's in the state where you live.
Just a modest home.
Yeah, modest home, whatever you want to call it, and we're gonna turn it on, and you're gonna say, "I consider myself the happiest man on the face of the earth."
Ever since you started calling them that this year, every time I see their logo, the C with the A in the middle of it, I want to call them Coward Academy.
Thank you.
Well, I
don't know why. I don't even know why the A is there, because I don't know anything about UC Davis other than this season and you talking about them. But I see that and it's like, that looks like Coward Academy.
No, the
Well, I heard that they're undergoing a rebrand, and it's like it's gonna be like a little football player scared in the corner. Is gonna be their new team logo. I mean, it's going to be a full rebrand. I think it's going to be some cool jerseys, but we'll see what happens.
And before anybody asks, let me just do a quick weather check for this game.
Well, my AccuWeather shows 49 degrees.
I see 49. Yep, I have 49 degrees.
Is there 1%? I was going to say, what's the chance for thunderstorms?
This is weird. It says chance of thunderstorms if down by 14 in the second half. That's weird. I don't know why they would have that.
Well, I was going to say, is there even a 1% chance? Because if there is canceled.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Don't even fly.
They may try no contest this one if they're down early. We'll find out.
Well, they're going to try to get the other team to forfeit, because they're going to try to call it late and then have them not. Then they'll all of a sudden put it back on and have them not show up, so they'll forfeit and move on to the next round.
Right. And now, believe it or not, there's another important game in the FCS going on too.
Ooh, what's that?
We have the SWAC championship this week also. Prairie View A&M against Jackson State. The winner will play South Carolina State in the Celebration Bowl.
Ooh.
Okay.
And yes, we will be picking that one, much to Mr. Profit's dismay.
Well, he'll just have to deal with it.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly which one. I don't know if I'm going to go for him that one, honestly, because I'm not going to say it's an even matchup. I think maybe Jackson State may have the edge, but Prairie View's not a bad team.
Prairie View's a great team.
Yeah. So I'll be curious where they land on that.
Even though they let me down, that's Prairie View. That's not Prairie View A&M, right?
Yeah, it is Prairie View.
Prairie View.
Okay. Well, I'm a little mad at Prairie View because they let me down earlier this season against a horrible team. I cannot be named. That cannot be named.
I picked that too. Yeah. Usually, Prairie View and Prairie View A&M are the same thing. It's just I will switch that out.
Well, no, I said I plead ignorance. So, I just know that they let me down against in a game that I needed them to win earlier this season. I had a hard time forgiving them for allowing that other team to win. I can't even name that other team at this point because I'm so disgusted. So
I'm eventually going to have to go down there for their baseball team, though. So I mean, it's going to happen eventually. So there's one more thing I want to end on this note since we're done with the FCS. Donnie, you talked about it this morning. I watched some of that Benedict Albany State game, and I got to admit, I was heartbroken because I really was hoping your Benedict Newberry prediction was going to happen.
Oh man, that would have been so sweet. That would have been so good.
No hating on Albany State, though.
No, absolutely no hating on Albany State.
No, it was. I mean, Benedict went down there, went for 2 to tie. I mean, they did everything they could to try and win that game. They were going against a team that obviously was the better team overall anyway. So it was a good, as Bill Murray said in Caddyshack, it was a Cinderella story. But
well, the Albany State Golden Virgils are
How did I get this team?
well, because they're the Rams.
Oh, that's right. They are the Rams. Yes.
So they're the Albany State Golden Virgils.
well, so now Albany State gets to host Newberry. So another South Carolina team coming down there, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a different story, my friend.
I mean, if they play against Benedict, I wouldn't be surprised if Newberry wins that.
Yeah.
We won't be picking that one though,
Yeah.
because I don't probably can't find a line
Yeah.
that really works for it.
By the way, Donnie, Clemson got a new name too. They're the Dabo Valley Donnies.
Dabo Valley. I like that one. I like that
Yeah,
one.
Dabo Valley Donnies.
Dabo Valley Donnie. Okay.
There's no way to top that one afterwards. So we're gonna call it a night here. Went on for about 2 hours. Not bad, especially with a late start. So
Yep.
thank you for doing it.
Between the two of us, we've been doing it for about 3.5, 4 hours, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's true. That is true. That is true. So thank you all for joining us this evening. Thank you for staying around with the late start that we had. If we have an issue like that next time, we'll try to find a way to notify quicker. We just didn't know at the time what to do on that. So, and Donnie's happy because Henderson got some yards. So good for you.
Travion Henderson.
Yep, he just busted off a big run. So yeah, right now I'm up on Tom 102-96. 7 minutes to go in this. As long as the running backs keep running, and I've got both running backs. I got Singletary and Henderson on my roster. And I've got the Giants kicker. So as long as the Giants keep kicking some field goals or extra points, I'll keep clicking. He's got Diggs, which isn't doing anything, and hopefully he won't. I don't want to jinx anything.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. Oh, Diggs' line will be like 3 yards or 3 catches, 35 yards, 1 touchdown.
Wow, that sounds very similar to one of your guys, Romeo Dobbs, Virgil.
Dobbs was 4 catches, 20 yards, 1 touchdown.
Either way, it hurts. Okay,
like
I was gonna say that's what my bench looked like: 2 receptions, 15 yards, touchdown, 26.9 points. Let's see, yeah, pretty much everyone on my bench performed, hence they were on my bench. So,
well, before we go on to another hour with Patrick ranting about fantasy, we're going to have to cut. We'll set that for tomorrow. Join us for tomorrow. It will just be 4 of us. It will be me, Donnie, Patrick, and Eric. Ed will not be there either. He's in Orlando. He may stop in comments. He may show up because he really is probably a control freak and just wants to be there. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so make sure you show up, Polly, because I know Jolly's not going to show up if Ed's not there.
Yeah, I mean, Ed will show up like an angry neighbor complaining about Tottenham on a show on the wrong show.
On the wrong show. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys tomorrow.